Happy Tuesday, everyone. This is another episode of Lifetime Success with Jennifer Yan. We are still on the political race series. We are focusing very heavily right now on using your voice, on exercising your right, on building the communities. This is time for elections. Early voting started yesterday. And it's so important that we are informed of who the candidates are, what they bring to the table, their background, just who are they as a person. A lot of times when we go into the polls, we see their names, we see the little circles next to their names, but do we really know and understand who we are voting for? This is what this Lifetime Success series is all about. It's about bringing the candidates to the forefront. It's about asking the questions and allowing them to give us the information that hope will impact our decision in voting. So today's special guest, and I have some amazing guests that are coming up, okay? And it's not just for me about the politics. It's about the people. It's about the community. It's about who do we really want to represent us that will do what's right. So with no further ado, I am not going to hold back any longer. I'm going to introduce to you all Miss Shan Rose. Hello, Shan. How are you?
Hello, everyone. Hello. Happy Tuesday.
I know it's Tuesday. Sometimes I have to ask myself and pinch myself, okay, what day is it? Because I'm sure my days run across each other. Your days are doing the same times three.
Look, you said it right. You have mom, work, campaign. So, yeah, times three is definitely it.
Yes. So a lot of individuals don't know who you are, and some of them do. If you're watching, this is Lifetime Success. Have a seat. Share this live now. Share it live now, especially if you live or know someone in what district, Shan?
House District 41, which is everything west of I-4, south of Colonial, all the way to Sand Lake, all the way west to Ocoee, Gotha, Windermere, Metro West.
Wow, so that's a huge district, and that is District 41.
House District 41.
Awesome. So now you are a candidate.
That's correct. I'm on the ballot if you vote by mail. I'm on the ballot if you have a sample ballot in Orange County, Florida.
Early voting started yesterday. What did that feel like for you, knowing that this is now the crunch time?
It's one of those data every day. So you look at the numbers, how many people are voted, how many people still have absentee ballots. What scrambling marketing can you do to speak to the voters, to remind the voters to vote, and let voters know about your qualifications. That's what these crunch days are.
So what has your days been like? Have you been doing events? I know there's events everywhere. You're being asked to speak. Give us a little rundown on what you're doing to make the community aware of who you are and that you're out there.
So I wear 1,000 hats. So I'm part of a lot of different organizations. So some days I'm like, okay, who am I today? Am I the candidate or am I Shan Rose, the community advocate? And so it just depends, because I run a nonprofit, Change for the Community, where I do community outreach and mentor youth. So there's a portion of my day that goes to my mentees. There's a portion of my day we're knocking doors. There's a portion of my day, as of right now, since early voting has started, hey, I need a ride. Hey, can you coordinate a ride? So that's been my day now. Hey, I noticed you don't have a sign over here. So that's kind of been the day. It's like checking on signs, making sure the team checks on signs, showing up at early polling locations and, waving to the people, sign waving. And then when it's all said and done, my son, because I'm mom duties always.
Yes, mom is 24/7, right?
Mm-hmm. Mom is 24/7. The fortunate thing is, we've had summer camp and then school starts back. So, he has my undivided attention first thing in the morning, and then we figure it out. I have been fortunate that I'm raising a community advocate and my 7-year-old son. So he actually he's like, hey, so we're not knocking doors today. Hey, we're not waving signs today. So I'm very fortunate that I have a civil rights activist and my son. So it's not like it's a dawn. It's not like, oh my gosh, we're going to do this political thing today, or we're going to do this community thing today. It's, hey, can we go talk to people? Hey, can we go knock doors? He rides his scooters. He'll tell me about his day. Sometimes we'll take a break from it all and we'll go grab something to eat. So, every day varies, but he's, priority through it all.
I definitely understand the fact of motherhood and prioritizing, and then having the passion in the areas that I want to make a difference. With that being said, as when, if elected, what are some of those impacts? What are some of those things that you are instilling in your son that you really want to focus and instill into the community?
The importance of letting your voice be heard and expressing concerns. I've actually done school visits and talk to young people. I usually get invited. Some schools invite me for career week, and it's always weird when you have these kids, these children you don't know, and they have a list of questions that you're unaware of, and they start asking. But teaching them the power of their voice at a young age. Like, I've had students where they advocate for sidewalks, and I had to tell them, they're like, yeah, it's really dangerous. I said, okay, so I need you to do this. And I said, here's my card, because I'm wearing my Change with the Community hat when I go visit. Here's my card. Call me and I'll help you advocate. If you don't find like your voice to being heard, I'll work with your parents to bring you a city council meeting. At a young age, in my son, he's like, hey mom, I'll use a perfect example. Last year there was a section of just east of where we live, which kind of connects the medical city area over in Orange Avenue, that, little medical city that we're building. Paramore, Paramore has a 60% individuals that don't have their own vehicle. So they either use public transportation or they use sidewalks and or bike lanes. And my son was bike riding with a friend and he couldn't get through on the street. So he called me instantly. He's like, Mom, there's no sidewalk. The sidewalk is blocked. And so I was like, okay, when I pick you up, let's drive in, let's write it all down and let's turn it in. And literally we wrote it all down. We turned it in. The tree stump was removed. And he's like, oh, remember when I fell there? Look, they removed the tree. We had there's whole sidewalks built that are being installed as we speak. It's over our division. Mm-hmm. And so he understands the power of using your voice and speaking up. The whole concept of see something, say something isn't just like law enforcement. It's like in everything. Hey mom, we'll go places. Hey mom, there's a lot of trash. Call the trash people. And it instills in him sense of pride in his community, which ideally is the goal of my nonprofit organization. It's change through group action.
Wow, that's incredible. What has to really happen is the new generation has to be encouraged and taught on what we need to do to keep our communities safe. You talked a lot about, the sidewalks and doing things on the street to help the community. What are some of the main functions of the position that you are running and campaigning for?
So a state legislator has literally two jobs: write and change laws and appropriate funds to bring home money to fund both the local government as well as community organizations. That's the goal and the function. So, for example, now we see the Inflation Reduction Act is currently before the House and the Senate, which on the federal level, which is basically ways to make things better in our communities. So your responsibility is then to say, okay, how do we work with the local government to get those things done? How do we work with the local government to bring those funding here to address the needs of the community? So those are the two main roles. But as any elected official, it is your due diligence and responsibility to use your position to be a sounding board for the issues in the community. For example, West Orlando, violent crimes, protesting, having rallies, having community meetings, talking to the people about the needs. Sometimes what we find in our communities is a government agency will say, here, this is how we fix the problem, when they're like, no, that's not how you fix the problem. So it's As legislator, again, your two main roles: write and change laws, appropriate funds to bring home money. But then outside of that, using your role to properly benefit the community meetings, hearing the concerns of the constituents, addressing those needs, because, you know, legislative session takes place 4 months out of the year and then the next year. So when you come back from legislative session, you're supposed to be meeting with the people to find out what are you doing the next year that you go up to be a legislator.
I hear a lot of funds, and right now everyone is talking about, raising funds, allocating funds, creating budgets. What expertise do you bring to the table in being able to make these jobs successful?
So, as a former City of Orlando employee, I get grant writing. I understand how policy making goes. I understand the community input when you're changing things. As a nonprofit organization, I write grants all the time. Whether we're most recently received a grant from the Orange County Sheriff's Office to take my mentees on field trips, or it's voter registration, getting out the vote, working on different efforts like that. So I understand how grant writing works. I've written grants, I've written policies. In fact, at the City of Orlando, we worked on the nighttime economy study where we looked at the nighttime, work with OPD, the Orlando Police Department. For the last year and a half, we worked on an implementation. And so it's kind of, hey, I'm one of those, let's not only write the plan, but let's implement them. Like, let's go back and review them. How do we hold community meetings? And how do I pick up the phone and send an email and say, hey, remember in the plan, this was supposed to happen. Where is it? So my name is inked in plans to better this community, to make this a safer community. To bridge the gap with law enforcement and the community policing, to create a safer community.
I really can appreciate that. Building safer communities, understanding, having the expertise, I think is needed in any position that you're running for. As a person that helps develop small businesses, I know that has been a huge question in our network. The individuals that's coming in, do they have plans for small businesses? And what would your response be to that? As a small business and working with a lot of others, what do you feel like you can offer a small business?
So I have written policy and programs for small business incentives. Prior to COVID, interestingly enough, a lot of construction takes places in a lot of communities, and rent, when you do construction on the outside while we're making the community look better, it typically impacts people that walk in, whether they can't park on the street, whether they can't find access to a business. So, there are policies and programs that I've written, such as rent abatement assistance programs during construction. So I know what it looks like to write the policies. One of the things I believe has to happen is encouraging our chambers, because our Chamber of Commerce, there are many of them that for individual needs. You have the African American, you have the Hispanic, you have the Indian, you have the Haitian. I believe empowering them to educate the community about the resources is the first thing, because if you don't educate a person, they don't know what's available to them. And then, using the base, I think a lot of people try to spin new wheels and start new wheels. No, let's go to the established organizations and say, hey, what do you need? How can I help you become stronger? What will it take and I'm not going to encourage membership joining, but what would it take to make it stronger? What would it take? What are your needs based on, if you have 500 organizations that are dealt with your chamber, then you all met, you all had surveys, bring that data to me. And then, can I host a community meeting with you to hear the issues? Everyone's issues are different. Some may say, oh, I don't feel like, law enforcement drives past my business enough. Some may say, I need new sidewalks at my business. So I think meeting people where they are, meeting with the organizations that are already existing and saying, how do we strengthen the numbers and strengthen and meet your actual needs?
Wow. That's big. listening to the audience, and the readers of IBA Success Magazine, and knowing how we inspire, we promote, we want to encourage everyone. What would your encouragement be for a person that maybe hasn't voted or unsure to who to vote for, to get them to come on out and use their voice to be heard?
So my only goal and vision for House District 41 is building bridges to close the gaps to create a safer community. So I would tell a voter, if you feel something within your community isn't safe, you've got to get out to vote. And safe doesn't just mean security. Safe means if you feel like your wages are too low, if you feel like insurance is too high, if you feel like you need more sidewalks, you need more lights, if you feel like housing is an issue, this is your time to exercise your right to be a voice. Like, this is your voice. Your vote is your voice. And don't let anyone take that away from you. Let the naysayers be the naysayers about laws being changed. Take your ID, go down to the polls and vote. Early voting started yesterday. The free liberties that we have is during early voting, you can vote at any of the sites. Right now they're open 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., I believe. You can visit the sites. You can go to Kaylee. Again, OCF elections.com. Bill's office is working. They're working. And I mean, they're working. Our office actually opens at 8. So if you do have questions, they're always taking questions. We saw in 2020 where we, the people of the United States of America, was not happy. What we did was we got out and voted. So we've shown voting can change the narrative. We can flip the switch literally by getting up, filling out a ballot, or getting up and going to the ballot box, casting our vote, going to the elections office and casting a vote. I would say 2020 is a prime example of what change looks like. We saw that. So if you feel like something around you isn't safe, again, whether it's job, it's literally your security, you don't feel like your neighborhood is safe, your sidewalks you need more sidewalks, better paying jobs, housing is an issue, this abortion access. If you feel like something that you're hearing negative is being impacted, this is your time to make your voice heard by casting your vote.
Yes. And with that being said, you are watching the political series. We're campaigning. Early voting started yesterday, and the primary election takes place on August 23rd. Be sure to go to OCFelections.com for more information on where you can vote. Shan, if anybody is looking for more information, please give your website address on where they can reach out to you or how they can contact you. I think one of the number one things is being accessible. That would be what I would want for the person that's representing my district. So shoot out how you can be assessed by the community, and then thank everybody for tuning in today.
So thank you all for tuning in, and I'm gonna thank you all again. The way to reach me is www.vote4shan.com, or email address vote4shan SHAN.com, and 407-255-7426, or the easiest way, 407-255-SHAN. It's so weird because I actually answered the phone and people are like, oh my gosh, I was expecting to get a voicemail. One of the things I will commit to upon being elected is ensuring that I have good staff members who will be there for you, who will be able to answer both phones, emails, and address the concerns. If I'm unable to attend a community meeting, ensuring that I have a representative. I intend to attend as many community meetings as possible, even if I have to split my time. But being present is what's most important, and addressing the concerns. Sometimes the concerns are not just like, oh, I have to go back to Tallahassee. Some of the concerns are, hey, let me text the chief of police and say, hey, can we talk? Let me text the sheriff, Orange County Sheriff's Office. Let me text, Ocoee mayor and say, hey, mayor, I need to talk to you. I think having those, and so I have those relationships, I have those connections. Individuals know me. I'm very vocal about the needs of our community. So I really ask for your vote. Now early voting is taking place, but August 23rd is election day. If you need a ride, email, text. We are giving rides to the polls. More information about me, www.voteforshan.com. I thank you all for tuning in. This is a very critical election for Orange County. And then, people always say this is the most important note for Orange County because there's a lot at stake right now, and your vote is important, and your vote is your voice, and I just want you to use it.
Yes. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Remember, this is Lifetime 6 Series. You can watch this interview in replay. Share it to your friends, especially ones in the district. Also, subscribe to the YouTube channel of Jennifer Yan, IBA Success Magazine. Stay tuned because we are on the race and we have more candidates that will be coming your way today. Thank you again, Shan, so much for visiting. And we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.